Welcome everyone to level 1, day 2. So this session will be for participants who have completed session 1 or day 1 yesterday. So my name is Isabella Hai and I will be your energy instructor for today. So before we start, I would like to just put out a question for everyone to write down the experience that when you practice the formula yesterday, because remember when I said that today we will no longer practice that formula, we will have the full set of formula after I activate you for today's session. So if you want to share your experience of how you were able to practice or feel warmth of energy, or maybe feel some sort of other ways when you practiced the formula yesterday, then feel free to pop that in the chat box. Okay, so remember that level 1 consists of 2 sessions with a total of 2 energy activations. So yesterday we did the brain cell activation, and today we will have the stem cell activation. So there are 2 very different activation, and you must attend both sessions, as I said yesterday, and receive both activation to be considered as fully completed level 1. Now, this activation, of course, they only work in real time, meaning that when you watch the live stream live and you cannot rewatch it or even rewatch a previous class video to receive the activation, that is not something that can be done because that is not in real time. Even when you rewatch it, there will be no instructor actually transmitting energy at that time when you rewatch a video. So it's really important that you watch the live stream in real time and receive the activation in real time so that your activation can actually be accurate. And of course, something that I also like to mention is that please do not improvise when it comes to receiving activation. The ways in which we'll be instructing you of how to receive the activation, please do it accordingly, because it is the techniques of energy, which can be a little bit different from other methods that you probably have done in the past. So when you come into a method, it is really necessary for you to follow the step-by-step to fully receive the activation, to fully understand the techniques of that method. Okay, so throughout this class, feel free to write down any experience that you have when practiced the first formula of level 1 yesterday, or if you have any question, feel free to pop that in the chat box as well. So before we dive a little bit deeper into discussing some of the class content, I'd like to just recap a little bit. It's just the most important points when you learn NLG. So we know that energy can be applied to help us develop and thrive in many fields. For example, our health, that's some of the most, visible part of us that we will see, that a lot of people have seen when they come into NLG, even at level 1. And then, of course, when we have health, when we're doing really, really well. And from there, it also enhances our wisdom. And you'll see how that rolls out. And with that, it helps for us to thrive economically as well. And it got us to build a really happy, loving family. All the things that are relevant to us, the things that we do now, the things that we can change now, that can really make a difference when you go into NLG. So that points to adapting to more healthy habits, as well as really putting love and morality at the core of this study. And the changes that you should make, if you do need to make changes according to love and morality, it is suggested that you do it now. And don't wait for, another year or another 6 months, or, for some people, could be 50 or 100 years. So we can see the changes now if you change now. And the outer space civilization, which is a term that I explained yesterday, they allowed us to use this energy source to enable greater things. But if you don't connect to the energy properly, you use your own energy. Okay. So the thing is, when people come into energy and they don't do the right thing, as in they don't follow the guidelines to receive activation, or they use this or try to use this energy to do something that they shouldn't do, then what happened is it is not the energy of the outer space civilization that you're using, but you're using your own energy for that. So this energy, the connection with this energy is very, very sophisticated, as I talked about frequency yesterday. So if you're not in the frequency that matches with the energy frequency of the outer space civilization, then of course you're not going to connect, and therefore you're not going to use it, even if you think that you're using it, but you're not actually using it. You'll be using your own energy if whatever it is that you're doing, it's outside of the frequency that you're allowed to use. Okay. And hopefully by the end of today's class, you'll be fully ready, both in your understanding and your energy activation, to start practicing the level 1 formula set. Okay, so yesterday we talked about 5 forms of love. I'd like to add a little bit more. Okay, so I hope that you can see this nicely on the screen here. So we talked about this yesterday. In level 1, we wished that you worked on the first and the second form of love, which are self-love and love for family. Now, once you got connected to energy, it is really important that if you haven't been practicing these forms of love, or for the most part, you've been thinking about these forms of love, but you don't actually put them into practice, then it is time for you to, really consider that and put it into practice so that you can start connect with these energy source. And some of the really important questions, well, one of the important questions that we need to ask ourselves constantly is that how can we maintain this energy and enhance it every day? Because only when we keep improving ourselves that our life or family can be benefited. And with the 5 forms of love, the point is to move forward to the 5th form eventually. So that is our goal. And when we start with self-love, as I mentioned yesterday, I've already explained about this. Self-love doesn't mean selfish. And knowing how to love your family is certainly necessary before you can extend that love to a bigger community. And having love and expressing love is profoundly beneficial for yourself, for your family, whether you are a son, a daughter, a parent, a wife, a husband, a grandparent. You belong to a family, and the family needs to be built, from happiness and harmony and empathy. We know that when we're in a state that is negative, then it's like, imagine that when you try to connect to someone, trying to call someone, and you put in the wrong number. So again, back with the comparison of energy frequency. If you're not in that frequency, then, you're totally in another frequency. And with that, you cannot connect to the frequency that you wish to connect to. And it's good if you learn to upgrade your love as you go. But if you say or present yourself as a loving person, maybe just for today, but then tomorrow you return to a very negative state, and you continue to do the things that excuse me, sorry, just trying to check the audio. I think everything is still good. Okay, so if you continue to do the things that are negative, even though on the outside you try to put on a facade and say that you are a loving person, then that is not going to be effective when you come into energy. And remember that no one's going to be there to, judge you for whether you're being good enough to connect to the energy source. It's really you knowing yourself, knowing the things that you do. So it's about working within yourself, and you're the one who know about that. You're the one who know of your own progress, and that is all that matter when it comes to working towards changes and trying to make the best out of your energy practice. And when you use you could be using different ways to trick other people, to pretend, to lie, and you think that by doing that you're smarter than them, that you're more talented than them because they got tricked. And we have seen, unfortunately, a lot of people in our society have been doing that, going through all means to earn lots and lots of money. And they think that they can get away with doing those things. They think that they might be very successful after that. But at the end of the day, we know that, those glorious moments don't really last. And as you continue to complete high class level here energy, you'll understand why. We'll go a lot more in depth into that. At this foundation level, let me just say that we need to move forward in a very proper way, and not in those sort of way that I just mentioned. So look around us and ask, why are some people very happy and they seem like they have everything in the world, while others people do not? And why is it some people so wealthy and others are not? Because we breach the very the rules of karmic consequences. So with this, in terms of karmic consequences, we're going to talk about that in greater depth in high classes. Now, just to mention at this foundation level is that, of course, there are many reasons as to why we may become ill. And amongst many different reasons, we need to understand that the majority is due to karmic consequences throughout the many lives that we've lived. When we become ill, of course, we want to get well as soon as possible, so that we can enjoy our life again. But how do we get there? And there's many answers to that question. It could be that we look for the most appropriate medical treatment. Some people even spend tons and tons of money to get to the most expensive treatment, hoping that they will heal and recover, whatever that's possible, to alleviate the pain and the issues. People would certainly go to great extent to try to have it. And we have found many different methods. We've tried many different things, and each methods, they do have different values to them. But if you're up for the most, potential effect, and you'll see it as you journey through this process with NLG, is that this energy source can help to make an impact for your body, for your mind, to upgrade the brain capacity, and subsequently the cells in your body. And only when the cells receive this energy and realize it, that your condition can improve for good and in the long term, and it is something that we can maintain, and we're in charge, okay, of the cells in our body, of how it works, and we continue to be very proactive about our own health, and we can actively take care of ourselves. So that's why many participants come into NLG, they experience really rapid health improvements. You can have a look at the previous live streams on our YouTube and Facebook channel. And these rapid improvements occurs especially when people get to realize the key of the method. So the key of NLG, of course, is love and moral values, not just talking about it, but we actually put it into practice. And when you realize the key, when you realize why it's necessary to have it and why it's necessary, particularly when you come into NLG, it's like the prerequisite that we need when we go into a course. Then if you tick all of those boxes, then your improvements starts there. It would start when you understand and practice love and moral values, not just understand and leave it there, but practice it. Here at NLG, we break it down for you in the 5 forms of love, as you can see on the screen. So let these elements guide you in how you speak, how you react to the things around you, how you face adversity and challenges, how you respond to things that you don't like or you don't agree with, etc. And if we don't improve, or if we improve very little, then try to consider why that might be. Is it because sometimes you're still very upset and or angry or bitter at something, and you hold on to those negative emotions and you don't want to let go? Or do you still resent or hate or dislike someone pointedly? Because if you're in a negative state, then your energy connection, your frequency can be very limited. You don't get to connect properly. So the point is, if you want to improve and improve quickly, then you've got to change. So it's not about, love and morality here is not something that is abstract. It's literally present in the way that you speak to other people, in the way that you treat other people, in the way that if you see someone that you don't like or see something that you don't like, then how do you react to those things? So oftentimes we think that we can just normalize, negative perspective and think that, well, because that person does this or because I don't like that, so that's why I react the way that I do. But I would like to encourage everyone to really change that perspective. Even if you don't like someone or if you don't like something, you can still maintain a really calm, loving perspective about those things or those people. And don't say that I'll see how it goes and maybe I'll change eventually, because we know that if you decide to do that, then the changes, the transformation, the improvements that you long for here at NLG, they'll probably be very limited, or maybe you don't see any improvements at all. And so the progress, the outcome really depends on you and how you change. So that's why I invite you that please don't hesitate when it comes to changing, to adapt, better habits, better behaviors, and to express love and morality in better ways. Remember that your mindset, your thoughts about how you approach this method really matters. And it's necessary to know that it's possible to change now. And it's possible to change from now on to become a better version of yourself, to be a loving, kind, and caring person, someone who knows how to show love and how to care for other people. But someone who understands and practice self-love and love for family. And of course, we're at this foundation level 1. So those are the forms of love that we'll be working on. So the first step to NLG, which I love the morality, may seem a little abstract to people at first, But literally, as I've already talked about this, it's very clear once you understand what this is about. That is, we're not just talking about love and morality, but we're talking about the way that you live your life, basically. So that is a more general way of putting it. And then from a more, I guess, detailed perspective, that would be how you respond to certain things, to certain situations and people, and how you treat other people, okay? And not to mention that love and morality is something that everyone certainly already know about. We all know about love and morality. But we really need to ask ourselves this question, fairly, is that if we truly know about love and morality and that we've been doing it right, then why is it that we're still here dealing with all of these problems? If we argue that we have love in our world, that everyone here lives by, their moral values, then why is it that, we don't get connect to these energy source, or we don't get connect properly? And so that is a question that we need to ask. And we need to be very realistic and, don't be afraid to question yourself this, to put yourself, maybe in a state where you feel a little bit vulnerable, when someone question about your love and moral values. It is not to be intimidated by that, but it's more so to really think thoroughly about what else we can do, how else we can change. And as I've said, this is not to judge you. This is it's more like a wake-up call, and it's about inspiring, and it's about, energy kindly invite you to think about these things so that you can, hopefully come to a better conclusion of the things that you should do and the things that you can do. So the content of level 1 and 2, I guess, from yesterday, yesterday was day 1 of level 1, and then we talked a little bit about this, these elements a little bit more today. And then in level 2, you see that we dig even deeper into this topic. And so you might feel that the content of these foundation levels may sound repetitive at times, but just take my word for it that nothing is redundant. Okay, so everything is really, really important. And it goes back to the question that I asked just now. If we've been getting love and morality right, then we would have been very, very different already. So where is it that, things has gone wrong? So we need to put forth that question and really try to work our way through to solve that. And of course, when you have the when you have love and morality, then you find yourself in a state of +1 -1 frequency. So this frequency is based on love and morality. And if you notice, when we're happy, our body, our mind, which also mean that the state of our evolution will be so too. But if we're sad or upset, or oftentimes we don't feel like doing anything, but probably just be in bed and not wanting to do anything with our life. So learning energy is voluntarily. It's something that you do, that you're willing to do. So you're not forced to change. It's just that we invite you to think about the possibility of changing, because if you're not in the +1 -1 frequency, you don't get to receive the energy to its maximum potential. So that's the only reason why that we ask you to change, so that you get connected, and once you get connected, then the rest will come, and you will understand why is it that we have been discussing all of these points. Now the thing is, when you're angry, when you're in a negative state, it doesn't mean that you're instantly get disconnected. Okay, it doesn't mean that. You're only disconnected when you neglect your practice for too long, and when you deliberately think or say that you don't want to learn and you don't want to practice energy anymore. So you make that very deliberate. You deliberately recite that, and then you get disconnected. And once you get disconnected, you have to attend level 1 all over again. It's not that you can pick it up where you left it, but more so you have to start with level 1. And the +1 -1 frequency is about being determined and knowledgeable and understand what you do. Okay, so that goes back to the question of, if we know about love and morality, then why are we still here like this? So the +1 -1 frequency has to come in. You need to be in that state for you to look around, to consider the things around you in the most knowledgeable and understanding way. It's about understanding why you should act with love and morality, why you should maintain a positive, joyful presence. Because when you're happy, when you're positive, you can create a really great attraction force for other good things to come. And this attraction is something that you need to work on. It's not something that comes naturally. And it requires effort, control, and regulation, self-regulation. In order for you to control the +1 -1 frequency effortlessly, you need to have connection with the energy source that helps to show you what to prioritize. So in other words, you keep practicing and you keep practicing accurately. Some people don't feel it at first, and then gradually they would feel it as they go into high class levels. So the point is to be consistent and diligent with your practice. It's like when you buy a phone, and if you don't have any signal, you don't have any Wi-Fi, then there's not a lot of things that you can do in terms of connection. And that's very similar with the ways that our brain work. When it comes to this energy source, is that if it doesn't get connected, it doesn't get upgraded, and you just remain in the state that you are now. Of course, it was designed to be part of us, the brain, that is. We all have a brain, but I guess we, perhaps sometimes we take it for granted. We always think that, it's just there and it's doing its job. And a lot of us, try to study it and think that it would just automatically do amazing things by itself. But the truth is, when it comes to energy attraction, as excellent as the brain is, it also needs our support and cooperation. That is, we need to learn the right techniques to receive this energy, or else the connection can be pretty weak, which won't be enough, and therefore cannot help us to enable greater things. For example, experiencing healing miracles. So the techniques of energy point us to the accurate frequency, so that we're in a state that's consistent with the energy source. We match through the +1 -1 frequency. And that's something that we have to create for ourselves. It's totally possible for us to do with our mind when our mind is determined and clear, and we understand exactly what to do through wisdom derived from love and morality. Then that's why the key to utilize energy is love and morality, as we've already talked about. And yesterday we also show you the example, or the comparison, the chicken and the egg. So just show you that briefly now. So this points to the necessity to practice correctly in terms of the techniques, the notes that you see in the formula, and of course the practice duration. Let's say when it says practice for 5 minutes and 30 seconds, then please do that. If you don't practice every day, the outcome may not be what you expect. So in order to implement this method, we'd like to invite you to, try to find for yourself the principles that can stimulate the brain. So scientists have been trying to figure out how to do this by using very advanced technology, study and research, great amount of effort to create a frequency that can stimulate the brain's potential to upgrade its capacity. So there's a lot of study on the brain, and a lot of it that we don't know about. The thing is, when it comes to this energy source and how the brain, how we use the brain to, receive this energy source, it seems that, previous attempt to use technology and other pieces of device and study don't seem to be quite right for the brain. That is, in terms of if we say that we want to receive energy connection. And so there's a lot of things that we don't know about the brain just yet. But coming into NLG, the techniques that we use to connect to this energy source is that we use our mind, we use our brain, and we direct through thoughts to receive energy, evident when we practice the formulas, such as when we practice stem cell stimulation formula according to the principles of NLG. That is how we do it. And we know that the brain has the capacity, it's been equipped in a certain way to do that. Each session to stimulate stem cells only require 5 minutes and 30 seconds. And that is if you do the techniques correctly. It seems really easy, but it certainly has structure. And so it's necessary to tick all the boxes as you practice the formula. So the comparison of the chicken and the egg example indicates that you need to meet the requirements. You need to get the right techniques in order to get there. And when you do the right things, you put on the right techniques, then the stem cells can receive this really amazing abundant source of energy, which then help to develop and upgrade all parts of your body, particularly your brain, get upgraded. They have the ability to then adjust, support your body from A to Z, not just with one type of diseases, but possibly a lot. And the important thing is that we need to practice accurately. There's no reason as to why we shouldn't do that, because our brain actually has the ability to reach new heights. So let's see where that takes us. And we've seen a lot of amazing things, a lot of miracles that happen to NLG participant when they're able to connect accurately. And from giving healing support to themselves, mentally, physically, and able to apply NLG to agriculture projects and so much more. So that emphasizes once again the importance of being very focused, consistent, and accurate during your practice of NLG. So talking about the benefits of NLG, we'll just go through this slides very quickly. So almost always people believe that what they do is absolutely right or is better than others. Okay, but we need to look at the outcomes of their actions to evaluate what sorts of benefits they're able to contribute to the community, meaning that it's not just talk, but we actually see the outcomes, the things that are beneficial, not just for them, but for the wider community as well. As we look at it over and over again, we consider all aspects of things, and then we can make the decision on how benefit a method can be. And from there, we can all agree that we need wisdom, we need understanding to observe and process everything with clarity. So the benefits of NLG in every aspect of life, as I mentioned briefly, so of course, a lot of people come into NLG and they experience very rapid health improvements, even at level 1, okay? And health, of course, that helps to optimize life and improve health conditions. So that is one of the first things that many people see at NLG if they do come into NLG with a health condition. And from there, when we're healthy, we're ready to go, then of course we want to maximize the brain function, increase intelligence and wisdom. That is really, really important, because with this, you'll be able to thrive in other aspects, meaning you do things more effectively, you have better ideas, etc. And it also helps with your career to achieve maximum effectiveness at work, develop the highest career prospect. And with that, generally in your life, it fosters happiness, you feel loved, and harmonize all relationships towards happiness, relationship that is within your family, within your workplace, with the community. And then it builds for you throughout your life values, bring positive energy into the next life journey. So it's not just this one, but for the many others to come. Now, even the best of us, the most admirable scientists, researchers, scholars, excellent minds, they only use up to about 10% of the brain, that's basically what we know about the brain. We know very little compared to its potential. And scientists have been working tirelessly to explore this really sophisticated part of us, that is the brain. But what if I tell you that energy can help us to break down this iceberg? That we were no longer scratching the surface, that energy has the ability to guide us to utilize the remaining 90% of the brain, or, to figure out what it does. Through working with this energy source, through learning from this energy source and applying it to our life to do well in life, with lots of happiness, to do things effectively, to understand our existence in general. And that is the benefit of NLG. And you'll see how it rolls out. It's not just me sharing with you this information today, but when you participate, and you have to participate in order to see those results. And it's totally up to you whether you want to see those results or not. You can, before you come in, and because we have so many NLG participants already, so you can have a look at their story and their experiences, and then you can decide for yourself. So it's not something that you're forced into doing. Please never feel forced to do this method. It is your own choice, and you're going to have a look at other people's story and experiences, and from there, I guess you can decide for yourself. We're talking about, using this energy, of course, to flourish, to take care of this life in this physical world, as well as the parallel world that lives alongside us, which is a really interesting topic that I'm sure that you have a lot of question about. But we'll certainly explore this topic in more details in a higher class level. But for now, what you need to know is that NLG instructs us to find a way to upgrade our brain capacity to help with the cells in our body maximize its potential, which a lot of participants have already achieved, evidence in the things that they're able to do. They, help themselves to heal, and they help other people to heal. They return to a more useful phase, mentally, physically, and to have smarter, sharper mind, to then contribute to thrive in many different areas like agriculture, forestry, fishery, which then foster happiness and ultimately help us to create positive energy into the next life journey, which we have just seen. We have just saw that the summaries of energies and its benefits. So now let's talk a little bit more about the logo, more specifically the cosmic divine light. The cosmic divine light logo, so that you understand the roots of these energy source. So you can have a look here. This is what we call the cosmic divine light logo that you see on the right hand side here. So it contains the code to unlock new knowledge, to access the infinite energy source of the universe. Now, this source of energy supports the development of humanity for an unlimited period and enough for all living things on Earth to flourish. So we talked about the 3 logo, but today let's just discuss a little bit more about this one, because this is where it's started, okay? So the source of energy that we're using derived from the cosmic divine light, which is an abundant resource for everyone. There's no limit to it. Doesn't matter how many people have learned energy before you. When you decide to come in, you're still set for the same potential. But the thing is, how much can you receive and how much you improve depends on how you perform. How you go about practicing love and morality, how much, how far you want to go with the +1 -1 frequency, and of course, how you practice the formula. Now, when I say how you perform, it doesn't mean that your performance in class. Okay, it's not necessarily that, but it's more so about how you live your life. And once again, going back to how you react to things that happens around you, how you treat your family, how you treat yourself, how you treat other people, even if you like or dislike them. Okay, so all of those behaviors counts. The thing is, we don't go around and judge you for things that you do or for your choices. It's really is about, what you do, how you feel, and you can never pretend to yourself. If you don't like someone, but you put on the happy face just because, then of course deep down you know that. And when you're not being true to yourself, of course you know that. And the outer space civilization, they know it too. It all comes in frequency, and frequency is not something that it's very, very sophisticated, that there's a lot about it that we don't know about. So it's not something that we can pretend, because this energy frequency is very, very complicated. And let me just say that when it comes to fairness and when it comes to detecting how you feel, the things that you do, and whether you stay within the range of +1 -1 and love and morality, then it's very, very it's very sensitive to that. Okay, so it's able to detect all of that, and that is the frequency, not us here at NLG. I'm talking about the frequency that's able to determine whether you match with it or not. And when it comes to love and morality, a lot of the time it starts from the smallest thing that you perhaps interpret as quite minor and insignificant. For example, when we talk about self-love, some people believe that, okay, to express self-love, I need to work really, really hard all year. And, even if I don't have enough sleep, but I work really hard, even though I don't eat healthily, I still work really hard just so I can earn a lot of money, and I can get myself to go on a holiday 3 times a year. For example, that is, how they think. But believe me, that it's not self-love. That is just people's interpretation. But when we talk about self-love, we talk about the here and now, the more immediate things that is relevant to the present. So it's basically started with the smallest thing, the most ordinary thing that can really make a big difference for the practice of self-love. For example, if you're meant to get 8 hours of sleep for your body to function well, have you been doing that? Or you know that the healthier amount of coffee, let's say you only have like 1 cup of coffee per day, but because you've worked long hours, and so you've been skipping meals, and you actually had a couple of extra cup of coffee per day, even though you know that that might not be good for your body and your mind, and you're just trying to keep up with the work that you're doing, but actually you're slowly burning yourself. You slowly sort of burn out as you continue with those habits. So it's the small things that counts, that makes a difference, that sometimes we think, that's so minor. And a lot of the time we think that when it comes to love and morality, that we need to do something fancy, that we need to do something greater to be mentioned. But here at NLG, we work with the present. We are very realistic about the concepts of love and morality. And it's not something that is abstract. Okay? So just keep that in mind. Now remember that when you get the energy connection right, it's not that we get support necessarily from gurus or masters within this planet, not people who are smarter in our community, not by a specific philosophy, but when we get connected correctly and through things that we do, then it is knowledge from the outer space civilization that surpasses everything that we've ever known, while being totally suitable, adaptable by every one of us of all levels. The outer space civilization consists of many different levels, as I've compared it to a school yesterday for you to visualize it more easily. And because it has different levels, has different knowledge, and so everyone can participate and no one is left behind. Okay, so as you upgrade, then you get to access different levels of knowledge and energy. So there's a chance for everyone. For example, if your understanding, your practice of love and morality, how you live your life, let's say you're at a certain at a foundation level, for example, then the outer space civilization will assist you accordingly so that you can thrive in that foundation level, and then you continue to go up. Well, that is if you decide to do that. If you decide to work on your love and morality as you go, then because you're in the right level of your understanding, but you still thrive, so it's not going to be challenging to understand. It's not going to be challenging to change. But whether you're able to thrive in any of those levels when you come in depends on how willing you are to open up, to have an open mind, to work with this energy. And when we receive energy, what happened is when we talk about energy and the nervous system, and this is when you receive the energy source, which we will do later on when you receive the activation. So energy brings the energy source down to the central nervous system, including the brain and the spine. So when we talk about the nervous system, it transfers energy source to the nervous system and the entire body instantly. I think 100% of the stem cells in our body to help our body develop. It supports physical health, intelligence, support the superior evolution of consciousness. And of course, when we talk about stem cells, that is the body's raw materials, has the ability to self-renew, differentiated into more specialized cells types. There's many different types as well. And it is the nucleus that gives life to every human body. So even at level 1 of NLG, you already learn how to stimulate your stem cell. So I will activate you for that later on. And after that, you're able to use the formula to stimulate your stem cell every day by yourself. And we know that stem cells, like generally, or in terms of treatments in other methods that you've seen, can be very expensive. But with NLG, what you can do is even at level 1, once you get activated, you can stimulate it every day. And you can do that your own time at your own pace. And the important thing is that it's free. So, of course, it's not going to be like stem cells treatment. It is not a treatment. It is something that we practice by ourselves to enhance and upgrade our stem cells. So it is a gradual process, and it's something that you need to be determined and understand that will go with us, will come with us, throughout our lives. If you decide that energy is the way to go for you for the rest of your life, that it is a practice that you would like to adopt for the rest of your life, then it is an ongoing process. Now, as amazing as it is when it comes to stimulate your own stem cells, you cannot, however, help other people to stimulate their stem cells. You can only do that for your own stem cells. And when you transmit energy to other people, that is healing energy, which is very different. Remember when I transmit healing energy to everyone yesterday before the actual activation? So that's a different thing. And when we talk about the similarity between the universe and the brain, I guess you can go and have a read in your own time. There's a lot of study about this already, but if you need more information, then you can look at this topic, because each of us is like a mini universe. Our brain is packed with neurons, while the universe is packed with galaxies. Our body, we often think of our body as a single matter, that is, we're all by ourselves, but sometimes we're not very mindful that we're living in this body with roughly around 40 trillion cells, and these cells possess energy and wisdom of their own, yet they're able to harmoniously work with each other, all in just one body, that is our body. And so when you think about it, it's like there's an entire community, an enormous one, that is, a network that actively working inside our body, and they work together tirelessly. But I reckon that for the most part, we often forget about this. We're not so mindful. And so a lot of the time we do things, we adapt habits that do damages to the cells in our body, hurting ourselves in different ways because of the things that we do. And that is where love, it's really lacking. And for those who have not looked into this, who haven't understood this concept, may think that, this is not right, or it's, a delusional thing to say. But we're stepping into a field of, very advanced super science, super spirituality, in the sense that not religion, not political, but intelligence and wisdom. Okay, so don't get me wrong when I mention the term spirituality. It is not to do with religion. It's to do with wisdom, of the cosmic divine light that we talked about earlier. And so when we think about this, of ourselves as a community, working, living in our body, it's like a comparison to not compete, to not show off, but to really draw everyone together back to the core of us as a species. That is, we're built of love and morality. It is in our nature to love and to care for an entire network of cells in our body, for a whole community of cells in our body. And from there, when we're a system, we'll be able to utilize these energy and support the cells to heal. Okay, so I think I will transmit healing energy now to everyone. And then after that, we're going to talk about the formula, okay? The formula set. I'll walk you through, and then we'll do activation. Okay, so this is the healing energy transmission. Okay, this is not activation. This is just healing energy. Okay, so get ready, everyone. And we will receive healing energy for 5 minutes and 30 seconds. Okay, and we'll start now. Okay, so we have just finished the healing energy transmission. So now I will show you the formula set, okay? And then after that, I will activate you for the stem cells activation, and then we'll go through the formula together, and we'll practice together just so everyone understand how to practice that formula. Okay. So remember the brain cell activation frequency formula yesterday. I'll put it up on the screen so everyone can see. Okay, it is this formula right here. So this is the brain cell activation frequency. Now, after today, we will no longer practice this formula. Okay, just keep that in mind. As I've said, this is just the initial formula for you to practice, for you to have a try to experience perhaps the initial warmness of energy. And the thing is, if you did not feel warmth, that's okay. What's important is that you give it a go, because people's sensory system can be quite different. Some people feel that warmth, some people don't. Don't stress about it and just continue to practice. Okay, so this formula right here we will no longer use. Okay, so just keep that in mind. This is the brain cell activation frequency that we no longer use. Now, what we will use is this stem cell stimulation frequency formula. So this is very clear in terms of how you practice it. So basically you recite silently in your head from step 1, 2, 3, and 4. And as you recite, as you practice, you just basically do the things that according to the instruction here on the formula. So just some notes is that I hope that by now everyone understand what the ERC is. It is short for Energy Reception Center, and it's right here at the back of your neck. So when it's said to send energy to the ERC, it means that you send it to this part here on your body. Now, this picture here, just for you to visualize, okay? Don't send energy to the picture. Send energy to your body, okay? To the ERC on your body. So with this stem cell stimulation frequency formula, of course, step 1, and you'll go through it. Step 1, you would recite silently in your head once. Receive cosmic divine light, new era energy level 1 frequency band, stem cell stimulation frequency. And then number 2, step 2, receive energy into the brain. You say receive first time, receive second time, and third time. And remember that you need to have 3 to 5 seconds in between. This is the formula that we will practice later on. I will play an instructional audio so that you can follow that audio. And for other formulas, you can also see the similarity when you go through the steps as well. And remember that I have not activated you for the stem cell activation. The one that we did just now is healing transmission, okay, which everyone can receive. But later on, after I go through all the formulas, I will then activate you for the stem cell activation, and you have got to receive that one in order to practice the formulas. And so then step 3, send energy from the brain. Sorry, so I'll just go back to step 2 here, just to mention some notes. Is that okay? So in step 2 is to receive energy into the brain. And what that means is that you visualize energy from outer space entering the brain. So from outer space, entering the brain, receive first time, receive second time, receive third time. Okay. And then step 3, send energy from the brain into the ERC. So basically you've already received energy to your brain in step 2. And then in step 3, you send energy from the brain into the ERC here. So you would say send first time, send second time, send third time. Okay. And then the final step, step 4, continuously direct energy into the brain. to the ERC and continue sending it from the ERC down the entire spine to the coccyx right here. Okay, continuously support the energy, maintain warmth for the entire spine to stimulate stem cells until alarm rings. Now, it is important that when you practice this, you have your eyes open and you direct energy accordingly. And also the practice duration, this is your age, by the way. Okay, so if you're above 18 years old, you practice this formula for 5 minutes and 30 seconds. If you have your children or your grandchildren or someone who's younger joining you and practice energy, then just notify them that, for example, from 8 to 12, there'll be 2 minutes and 30 seconds of practice duration. And from 13 to 18 years old, that's 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Okay, so I hope that everyone is clear on this formula. It's very straightforward. And then you have the self-healing frequency. Okay, so you go through step 1, you recite this silently. And basically step 1 of every formula, that's like, think about it as a request, okay, as the command. So you need to get the command correctly first. Don't try to change the words of this. If you don't remember, you just read the formula, okay? Have a look at the formula and read it. And as you practice, you'll be able to remember it. But please do not change the wording of the formula. So step 1, you recite this command, self-healing frequency. And then step 2, you receive energy into the brain. Of course, give it 3 to 5 seconds in between each time. And then step 3, send energy from the brain into the ERC. Send first time, second, third time. That's very straightforward. And continuously direct energy into the brain and transmit it into the ERC. Okay, so this is quite different compared to the stem cell stimulation frequency earlier. So make sure that you read through the formula and you understand how to direct energy and where to direct it. And of course, we have the practice duration right here. Once again, you keep your eyes open while you practice and you direct energy accordingly and be in a very mindful state. Now, if you practice and all of a sudden you feel very sleepy, try and fight that urge, okay? You cannot fall asleep when you practice. And if you're distracted for more than 30 seconds, we suggest that you discard that session and you come back for another session. And make sure that you're fully awake, fully aware of your surrounding, fully in a state where you're mindful of everything. This is the direct healing frequency. So for level 1, this is really important to go through all the notes. So I'll actually go through every step with you. So in step 1, you recite silently once, receive cosmic Divine New Era energy level 1 frequency band, direct healing frequency. Step 2, receive energy into the brain of the transmitter. So whoever the transmitter might be, well, in this case, let's say it's you. You're the transmitter, so you receive energy into your brain. Okay, and the way that you do it, you visualize the energy from outer space entering the brain. If you're the transmitter, then the energy would go into your brain. Receive first time, second time, third time. And then step 3, send energy from the brain of the transmitter into the recipient's ERC. So for example, if you're the transmitter and let's say you give healing support to your mother, okay, then you send energy from your brain, okay, because you've already received it in step 2. So in step 3, you send energy from your brain to your mother's brain because she's the recipient, okay. That is just an example for you to visualize, okay. So the transmitter and the recipient, 2 different people, and generally if you're transmitting energy, then you're the transmitter, and the person that you transmit energy to is the recipient, okay? So from your brain to the recipient's ERC, and the ERC is right here, okay? And then in step 4, the transmitter continuously transmit energy from the brain of the transmitter into the recipient's ERC. So basically in step 4, that's where you extend Okay, extend from step 3. It is something that in step 4 is something that you do constantly all the way until the alarm rings. So you don't stop there, you continue to transmit energy. Okay, and continues to support that energy right there to the recipient's ERC until the alarm rings. Okay, and let the warmth of energy spreads on its own, certainly for the recipient. Now, practice duration, this is the recipient's age. It is not the transmitter's age, okay? So let's say you're transmitting energy to someone who is above 18 years old, then you would transmit energy to them for 5 minutes and 30 seconds. Whereas if you transmit energy to someone, to a child, let's say who's 5 years old, then have a look here. Is it that from 4 to 7 years old, it's 1 minute and 30 seconds. So if you're transmitting energy to a 5-year-old child, then you will transmit energy for 1 minute and 30 seconds. Some really important notes for you to have a look, and it is, I cannot stress this enough in terms of how you need to read all of the notes before you practice. So level 1 participants are not yet ready to support people with neurological diseases. Okay. And remember that this is direct healing, meaning that you need to be there with the recipient, and you put 2 hands on the recipient's ERC like this. So have a look at the picture here. So the hands here is the transmitter's hand. That's how you need to place it. And for level 1, you can only support family members, for example, parents, grandparents, in-laws, etc. But for supporting another person with serious illnesses, the transmitter must feel warmth for 5 minutes and 30 seconds during the practice of stem cell stimulation formula. And while performing, the transmitter and the recipient keep their eyes open and maintain a state of mindfulness. The recipient visualizes the ailing areas. If there is many, then just focus on the ERC and the entire spine. So make sure that you tell your recipient about that. That's the last point there. And also it is very, very important to go through these notes. And if you have any question, it is better that you put up your question in the chat group on our on Telegram and get it answered before you actually transmit energy to another person. Okay, so basically for level 1, that would be the formulas that you would use. I have some more notes here. Okay, so for level 1, you practice 2 formulas, so the stem cell stimulation and the self-healing, and this is for you, okay? Whereas the direct healing, it's for other people when they need that, then you can transmit healing energy to people. But generally for yourself, on a daily basis, you would practice 2 formula. You can practice continuously or 1 or 2 hours apart. So level 1 students have received 2 activation, which is the brain cell and the stem cells. I have not activated people for stem cells just yet. I will do so after these notes, so stay tuned. And only when you receive 2 activation that you can then practice the level 1 formulas. Direct healing formula can be used to support family member as needed. When practice, maintain self-awareness for 5 minutes and 30 seconds and relax your mind. If you're distracted for more than 30 seconds, don't count that practice. Reset the timer and start again. Choose a quiet place to practice. Keep your eyes open the whole time. However, you can blink, of course. Find a focus point or object. Avoid using fan or AC to feel warmth during practice. Practice the formulas as instructed correctly and daily. Maintain moral ethics, 5 forms of love, and the states of +1, -1 to achieve desired outcome. Now, just some more notes when you practice the stem cell stimulation formula. If you practice it for the first time and the whole spine feel warm continuously for 5 minutes and 30 seconds, then you only need to practice this formula once a day. In contrast, when you practice for the first time, but the whole spine doesn't feel warm, maybe it's warm in parts, maybe it's not warm at all, then you can practice for the second time and the third time. So it's up to 3 times a day in a row, or maybe it's 1 or 2 hours apart. So that's something that you can think about, and you can note that down. Well, actually, I will send out these notes to the Telegram groups as well, so that people have it to keep in mind. And then when you practice the self-healing formula, you should practice this formula at least 6 hours before going to bed, because late practice can lead to excess energy, causing difficulty sleeping. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Healthy or mildly ill people need to practice self-healing once a day. In case of severe disease, practice 2 times a day. For support healing on the same person or receiving energy from another person, need to be spaced from 6 to 8 hours. In case of emergency, you can practice self-healing right away. There's no need to wait for 6 hours. Okay, so what that means is that, for example, if you practice self-healing, if you've already practiced self-healing and it's not up to the 6 or 8 hours period yet, then you cannot receive healing support from another energy participant or even from Mr. Lei. Okay, so you need to plan your practice and you need to space it out so that you can, if you wish to, receive healing support from other people as well as practice on your own. Whereas if you just practice on your own, then of course you still need to pace it out at least 6 hours apart. Okay, and I think we just have enough time now for me to activate everyone. Okay, so now we will do stem cells activation, everyone. This is really important. This is what you need to actually use the formula set that I talked about just now. So I will show you the demonstration video so that you understand how to receive this activation. Okay, so have a look at this. So you visualize energy from my forehead going to yours, and you go 3 times into your forehead. And then from there, you take it all the way down your spine. And then you keep it at your spine. Okay, let's watch that again. So you take energy into your brain 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And then from there to your spine, 1, 2, 3. And then for the rest of the 1 minute and 30 seconds, you will keep that energy there at the spine. Okay. So just watch this one more time. 1, 2, 3 into your brain, and then down your spine. 1, 2, 3. And then you keep that energy there, continuously support it there at your entire spine. Okay. All right. So you will look at my forehead, of course. I will have my eyes closed while yours is open. And you look at my forehead, you visualize energy from my forehead going to your brain 3 times as demonstrated in the video. And then you direct energy from your brain down to your spine all the way down 3 times. And then you continuously support the energy there at the entire spine. Okay, so I hope that that's clear. Okay. And I'll set my timer and we will activate for 1 minute and 30 seconds. Okay. All right, so let's start now, everyone. Okay, so we are finished with the stem cell activation. Now, if you feel a little bit tense, your forehead, or you feel like I'm having a mild headache, what you do is you inhale through your nose for 3 seconds, so 3 times. So inhale through your nose, and do a short inhales, and a long exhale through your mouth for 6 seconds. And you do that 3 times, okay, to release that excess energy. All right, so now let's practice the stem cell stimulation formula together. I will set the timer to a standard time, which is for people who's above 18 years old, 5 minutes and 30 seconds. If you have children doing this with you, set a separate timer for them, please. Okay, so we'll practice this formula together so everyone know how to go about it. Okay, I'll share the formula on the screen. I'll turn up my video so that everyone can see more clearly, and I will now play an instructional audio for everyone to follow. Okay, so you can read the formula on the screen. I will turn on the timer. Okay, so this is the stem cell stimulation frequency practice session. So let's do this. This is practice session to receive Cosmic Divine New Era Energy Level 1 frequency band stem cell stimulation frequency. For people above 18 years old, the timer will be set to 5 minutes and 30 seconds. Let's begin. Step 1. Recite silently once. Receive Cosmic Divine Light New Era NOG Level 1 frequency band stem cell stimulation frequency. Step 2. Receive energy into the brain 3 times. Receive first time. Receive second time. Receive third time. Step 3. Send energy from the brain into the ERC 3 times. Send first time. Send second time. Send third time. Step 4. Continuously direct energy into the brain to the ERC and continue sending it from the ERC down the entire spine to the coccyx. Continuously support the energy, maintain the warmth for the entire spine to stimulate stem cells until alarm rings. Okay, everyone, so we have just completed practicing the stem cell stimulation frequency together. Okay, so congratulations everyone for completing level 1 fully. So just a reminder for everyone to practice the formula accurately and diligently. I will now put up the QR code for our Telegram groups on here so everyone can scan it. Okay. And if anyone have any question, I will just be here for a couple more minutes to answer your question. You can put your question in the chat box. But generally what I'll do is I'll post the formula that you see just now, as well as some of the notes onto Telegram. So when you're in there, you can get access to it and you can save it to your device. Now, anyone who is here today, but you did not complete yesterday's class, I'm very sorry to say, but you will need to participate fully in another level 1, because only people who have completed level 1 fully, meaning that you did day 1 and day 2 of level 1 and you received both activation, then that's the requirement for you to be considered as completed level 1 fully. And you can only use the formula after you receive both activations. Okay. And as I've already mentioned, if you practice this stem cell stimulation formula and you don't feel warmth, then you can practice, up to 3 times per day. Now, in some cases, people's sensor system can be quite different. Some people come in and they practice, they don't feel warmth at all, but don't stress about that. Just keep practicing and be very diligent with your practice, because we actually have a participant sharing with us that it took him 8 months to feel warmth at the spine when he practiced. So make sure that you be very diligent with your practice, and just don't get frustrated, don't be stressed. And if you need help, then you can contact us via our Telegram. Okay. And also I'd like to share with you, the upcoming class schedule. I hope that everyone has already scanned this QR code. If not, you can always go back to this video. Okay, so let me just share with you the upcoming schedule. We've already posted this on Facebook and YouTube, but this is our upcoming schedule here. We have another level 1. Okay. And so I guess this level 1, the one that we did just now, it's better for people who's in Europe in terms of time. And then the next one, maybe not so much, but that would certainly be better for people, in PDT time zone, as well as people in UTC +7, like Vietnam and Thailand. And of course, for people in Australia, the next level 1 would be better in terms of time. And then after that, we'll have level 2, and we have 2 level 2 in the same day. So there's one morning session and there's one afternoon session. So make sure that you have a look at this schedule. And if you have any friends or family member who would like to participate in level 1 and 2 English, feel free to share this with them. And then in September, we hope to have more classes coming, so that we have more time slot for everyone to participate. All right, so well done everyone, and congratulations on completing level 1 NLG. Remember to join our Telegram groups to receive the formula and to ask questions if you need to do so. I hope that everyone will have a brilliant time practicing the formula, and if you need help, certainly reach out. Thank you everyone for participating. On behalf of all participants today, I'd like to say thank you to our founder, Mr. Lei, and a huge thank you to those working behind the scene. Thank you everyone for joining. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we hope to see you in all of our future classes. Thank you everyone. Bye-bye.